Today on CCX News, mourning the passing of the Pope. The Vatican announced that Pope Francis died at the age of 88 following a series of health problems. We share how local Catholic churches are reacting to the news. Hello and thanks for joining us. A statement released by the Vatican described Pope Francis as a man who taught people to live the values of the gospel with fidelity, courage, and universal love, especially in favor of the poorest and most marginalized. On Monday, a Brooklyn Center priest reflected on the Pope's 12-year legacy.
The first thing that comes to mind is his care for the poor. Coming from Buenos Aires as Archbishop, I think he had a real connection with people and understanding their plight and how to help them. His charism as a Jesuit, I think, was a great legacy that formed him, but also informed how he would minister as the Pope. I think that's what he'll leave behind.
At St. Alphonsus Catholic Church in Brooklyn Center, Father John Schmidt put up 2 photos of Pope Francis to commemorate his death, one in the sanctuary and one in the vestibule. The church's plan is to have those photos remain on display through the official 9-day mourning period. Father Schmidt shared what he'd like to see in the Pope's successor.
I like what Pope Francis did in terms of continuing reforming the church and looking at ways that how do we continue to grow in our Christian faith, but also how do we relate to the world, which is so vast, so changing, and so diverse. But one who's open to dialogue, definitely.
The conclave to elect a new pope will begin about 15 to 20 days following his death. A man from Maple Grove has been identified as the first fatal shooting victim in Minneapolis in 2 months. According to the Hennepin County Medical Examiner, 27-year-old Davion Collins died Saturday night from a gunshot wound to the neck. Police say Collins was found dead inside a vehicle that had crashed into the garage entrance of a Minneapolis apartment building on West River Road. Investigators are trying to determine what led to the shooting. As of Monday, no arrests had been made. A new federal report shows a plane that nosedived into a Brooklyn Park home may have had an icing issue before it crashed last month. The pilot of the plane, 63-year-old U.S. Bank executive Terry Dolan, was supposed to land at the Anoka County Blaine Airport. Dolan's private plane crashed into a home in northern Brooklyn Park near the Mississippi River on March 29th. According to the preliminary NTSB report, investigators found no immediate signs of a mechanical issue. However, the report estimates a 50 to 60% chance of icing on the plane when it crashed. Dolan was the sole person killed. No one inside the home was injured, though the home was destroyed. The investigation into the incident is ongoing. Public health officials released new recommendations about eating fish from contaminated lakes, and 2 of Robbinsdale's lakes are impacted. Fish in Crystal Lake and Twin Lake in Robbinsdale were found to be contaminated with PFAS, also known as forever chemicals. These man-made chemicals were in many consumer products and don't break down in the environment. The general public should limit fish consumption from both lakes to 1 serving per month. Sensitive groups like women who are pregnant or breastfeeding should not eat any fish from these lakes.
You may not be in a sensitive population and you're out there fishing, but think about who else is eating the fish when you are bringing it home or sharing it with your community if anybody falls in sensitive populations.
PFAS can increase your risk of cancer. They're also tied to developmental issues like low birth weight. The first phase of road construction near Armstrong High School is underway. The city of Plymouth is working to rehabilitate pavement and address safety concerns on 36th Avenue from Zachary Lane to Highway 169. The first phase on 36th is from Zachary Lane to Armstrong High School. The project includes installing pedestrian beacons and median refuge islands to allow for safer crossings near both Armstrong High School and Plymouth Middle School. Construction is expected to last until November. The Plymouth Rockers, a 55-plus senior chorus, is gearing up for its annual spring concert this week. And the group is powered by more than harmonies. I introduce you to one of those special bonds. Monday mornings move predictably for Bob Kaiser.
Yeah, after 21 years, we've become pretty fast friends.
Each week, just before 9,
Morning, Norv.
He waits for his good friend, Norv. When Norv Steyer pulls up, the day begins.
Okay.
The two go together to choir practice.
He's been loyal. He's never missed. Yeah, he's a good friend.
They're part of the Plymouth Rockers, a large senior chorus where their friendship started all those years ago.
All right, are you ready to start this show? Yes. Okay.
When Bob sat next to Norv in the bass section.
So I sat down there, and I've been there ever since. That was 20-some years ago.
The Rockers perform for senior centers, events, and the community. Both of these men joined because they love to sing, but what seems to keep them coming back is the camaraderie.
We've got some pretty good friendships over the years.
Bob and Norv's bond is just one of them. Norv started in the chorus 8 years before Bob. Some of his fellow Rockers credit him for bringing in many of its members.
If you are retired, as all these people are, and you get older, you need a little outside activity, and this is a good start.
He says he keeps coming back because he's been singing all his life. It's an added bonus to have a good friend by his side. He tells their origin story similarly.
I was sitting there, and all of a sudden this guy plopped down in the seat next to me. Happened to be Bob, and I just can't get rid of him.
As for the daily drive, Norv says he's just helping out.
Well, because I can, and I see the need, and I would help out all I could, so.
But it's pretty clear this routine check-in is a highlight of both of their weeks. You can see these Rockers bond in action at their spring concert. That'll be on Saturday, April 26th. It's free to the public at Wayzata High School, starting at 4 in the afternoon.
The Maple Grove boys lacrosse team has a new head coach this spring in 2015 Crimson graduate Jake Wilson. Maple Grove was shooting for its third win of the season when they hosted unbeaten Edina. A cool and windy evening for the Crimson at home against the Hornets. Maple Grove scores first. Ricky Peterson with a short pass to Brady Barthel for the shot and goal. Crimson lead 3 minutes into the first quarter. Tied at 1, Maple Grove goes back in front on this goal. Grant Jensen fights off the contact, gets a clean shot away and scores. Crimson lead 2-1 after 1. Edina comes back with a strong second quarter. Drew Stocco with a spin move gets free and he goes high with his shot to score. Hornets now on top 3-2. Then Lincoln Gentry gets in close and fires a shot into the Crimson net. Edina takes a 5-2 lead into halftime. Early third quarter, the pass comes to Eli Varian, and he scores for Maple Grove. Crimson pull within 5-3. But that's as close as they'd get. Eli Bussey comes from behind the Crimson net, turns, spins, and scores. Edina leads at 8-3. And then watch Christian Keel. He picks up the ground ball and will take this one all the way himself, coast to coast to score. This goal makes it 10-3. Edina goes on to beat Maple Grove 13-3. The Osseo-Park Center girls lacrosse team won its opener before dropping a pair of games. They met up with St. Louis Park Friday. Jay Wilcox has highlights.
Osseo-Park Center hosting St. Louis Park in a non-conference matchup in girls lacrosse. St. Louis Park starts fast. Alicia Fitzpatrick on the run, fakes the pass and goes to the net for a 2-0 lead just 1:12 into the game. From the free position, Riley Ridgway fakes the shot and drops a nice pass to Kate Grimm for the goal, and it's quickly 3-0 Orioles. OPC gets on the board as Lauren Rainerson sees a little opening and tucks the shot in from a tough angle to make it 5-1, but it's St. Louis Park with a 6-1 lead after one quarter. In the second, Hussein Abba with a nice cut between defenders to score for Osseo-Park Center as they try to battle back. It's 7-2. Sam Hansen keeps possession in traffic and flips the backhand shot in for Park. She scores 4 goals on the night, and it's 8-2. Macy Patton bounces a shot in from the free position. The Crocs fighting back to within 8-4. But Fitzpatrick scores 6 on the night. The second half is pretty even, but the early lead carries St. Louis Park to an 18-10 win over Osseo-Park Center. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Last week marked the start of another of the NCAA's letter of intent signing periods. Chaz Moots was at Hopkins High School.
On Wednesday morning, 12 Hopkins High School student-athletes signed their national letters of intent to play collegiately at the next level. 3 of those athletes that put pen to paper at the Royal Springs Signing Day committed to Division I programs. Henry Reiser will run track and field at the University of Wisconsin. In hoops, 2 senior standouts will be going from Royal Blue to UND Green. Anthony Smith III and London Harris both signed to play basketball at the University of North Dakota next year.
It was a good fit for me because as soon as I stepped on campus, I already knew, like, this is my home. The coaches, the team, everybody was supporting me, texting me, saying, you gotta come here. It meant so much to me. I felt like I could fit in perfect. It means a lot to me because, you know, I'm undersized. Everybody doubted me my whole life almost, but it's just the work. I got some stuff to prove, and I'm gonna show people why I belong.
Once I visited UND, it felt like home. I mean, the way that the players were, how nice they were, also their playing style, how their practices were, was very similar to our practices. So it was like, you know, I've already been through this. I'm already comfortable with it. Coach Hutter and all the other coaching staff really accepted me for the player I was and the person who I was also. So it felt good to know that I had that type of support up there at UND.
Harris joins her Hopkins senior teammate Lauren Hilsheim in committing to the Fighting Hawks. Hilsheim signed with UND in the winter. Smith will team up with twin brothers Micah and Marley Curtis from St. Louis Park when he heads to Grand Forks. In Minnetonka, Chaz Moots, CCX Sports.